Yeah, the Don't Look Up is the story of two low-level astronomers who make the biggest discovery of their lives, that a comet is headed on a direct impact with Earth, and nobody cares. When we were finishing Vice, I remember sitting in the Heathrow airport with London, and Adam was trying to figure out how to make a film that spoke to the issues about climate change. At that time, that was high on his mind, and how to do it in a unique way. And it was then, as we were sitting in the airport, where he had the initial idea for what if the comet would hit the Earth and nobody gave a shit? What if a comet hit the Earth and nobody cared? I think that given the path that Adam has charted for himself, it's uniquely an Adam McKay vibe. So it borrows from Dr. Strangelove, it borrows from Wag the Dog, it borrows from some of the comedies that Adam's made, and certainly from Big Short and Vice in terms of the boldness of the storytelling. It's a little more absurd in the satire than either The Big Short or Vice, but it's a juggling of genres, which I think Adam is one of the only filmmakers out there who attempts to do it. He's the best. Adam is a singular creative being, whether it's on a small movie that we produce or a big production like this. He's only interested in how to tell the story in the most unique, entertaining way. And it's just always a delight. Reading first drafts from Adam are really seeing the movie. And that was the case with Don't Look Up. I read the first draft the early January 2020, and the next day we sent it to Jen Lawrence. Don't Look Up is an incredibly challenging film. It was tenfold, in terms of the degree of difficulty shooting pre-vaccine during the pandemic. So when we first were in Boston in March of 2020, we were on a path with the complete support of Netflix to get the movie made and out by last Christmas. And then the pandemic happened. So we came back, and we, like many others in the film business, weren't sure how it would work or what would be the process and how it would work. So we spent the summer working very closely with Netflix, figuring out what were the best and safest ways to go. We had the complete financial support of Netflix in doing whatever was the best and the safest for the actors. That entailed creating a bubble around the production, both for the actors and for the crew. And that came with some new levels of sacrifice that are above and beyond what you would normally do when you go away to make a movie. Because usually when you go away to make a movie, you can still interact with your family or see your kids or come home on weekends. That was not the case. When people came to Boston, if you were an actor or you're in the direct performance crew around them, not only did you have to stay in Boston, but you couldn't go out. Nobody could socialize on the weekends. We had a very rigorous testing program that ensured that in that bubble, we kept the virus out as best we could. So it was daunting, and we had a massive COVID department helping us kind of pull that off day to day, week to week. We didn't break for Christmas. We didn't break for Thanksgiving. We didn't break for New Year's. We wanted to shoot in a tight time frame and ensure that the bubble stayed intact, and we successfully did it. But it was hard on everybody. Nick's part of our filmmaker family. We met him on The Big Short, and he's been with us ever since. He did The Big Short, he did Vice, he did Succession, which Adam did the pilot for. He's doing a Lakers show that we're in production now, and he's doing, obviously, Don't Look Up. He's part of the key creative fabric of the movie, even from the time that Adam starts dreaming up the story. It's Adam, Nick, and Hank Corwin, the editor, are kind of the brain trust in kind of having those early tone and feel conversations about what the movie's going to be. Linus was amazing and came to us with very little prep time. And despite the fact that he had very little prep time when we met him, he did an incredible, incredible job, and very, very cool and calm under pressure. Clayton, we've made many movies and TV shows with over the past 10 years. He's super inventive and crafty in both the sets that he builds on stage, as well as locations that kind of get repurposed in our movie as sets. For example, there was a used car dealership that ended up becoming the bones of the set for the Daily Rip, which was something that Clayton saw on a scout. Or with some of the stage space that was challenged in Boston, he was able to recreate on one stage Wembley Stadium, the observatory at the beginning of the movie, and Meryl and Mark Rylance landing on a new planet. Those were all massive challenges of production design and visual effects on this movie. Liz is great, and we had an incredible cast of stars on this movie that all required individual attention with their unique characters, from Leo to Jen to Meryl to Rob to Jonah. And Liz is a pro and handled everybody with her expert guidance. Sure. I think the two biggest looks that we tried to crack in our hair and makeup tests were Leo before and after. Meaning Leo before, as he's the kind of the frumpy astronomer, and then when he goes on to the Daily Rip, Patty, who's the head of hair, actually is the person in the movie in the chair that kind of gives him a little trim, and then miraculously he shows up as a very handsome guy on the Daily Rip. And with Jen, the big choice there was the red hair. And I think between Adam, our hair and makeup team, and Susan, our costume designer, it was all part of a piece. What's the whole look for Jen look like? And Adam fell in love with that look early on. She's great. Patty worked with us on Vice. She won the Oscar for that. We were thrilled to have her back and always look to work with her again and again. And yes, it was a fun day when Adam asked her to be in the shot for the Daily Rip makeup scene. Hank Corwin is a genius. He is both a kindred spirit and somebody that challenges Adam in how they see the movie and how they see the script. And I think what's great about Hank is he takes guidance from Adam as the director. And what's great about Adam is he's open and willing to hear new ideas from Hank. And out of that collaboration becomes The Big Short, comes Vice, and comes the very unique editing style that is on Don't Look Up, which, again, I think is a path that Adam and Hank have charted more for themselves than you see in other films. Raymond we met on Vice as well, and we had a great experience with him. And Raymond and Dion did an amazing job on visual effects that started back in November. When we were first kind of in Boston. Some of those sequences were dreamed up and thought up then. They were great problem solvers. One of our many challenges on the movie was, how do you film a concert with Ariana Grande in a drafty stage in Weymouth with 100 extras and a simple set, and make it look like you're outside in Wembley Stadium in a concert that's meant to save the planet? Well, hopefully when you see the movie, you'll see that we were able to pull it off. Sure. Let's start with Jen. It's really simple. Adam wrote the part for her. They've long wanted to work together. She's, I think, very publicly been a massive fan, particularly of Step Brothers, in terms of Adam's work, and kind of can quote that movie chapter and verse. But Adam wrote the part for her, so she was the first actor that we sent the script to, and she said yes. And then it was during the shutdown, during the pandemic, that we started having our meetings with Leo. And that was a courtship between Adam as a filmmaker and Leo in evaluating what was the right tone of the script, and a couple of very smart notes that he had on Randall, his character, that I think it's been one of the more fruitful collaborations with Adam and an actor, from the get-go. Jonah was a singular first choice. Jonah and Adam have been friends over many, many years, but for the douchebag son, chief of staff of the President of the United States, we thought nobody else other than Jonah could bring that role to life, and he did an amazing job. The role of Isherwell was something that we searched for a while, and it was during production that we ended up approaching Mark Rylance, who's one of Adam's favorite actors, as well as Leo's. And what Mark brought to the table was what you see in the film is a very unique version of an Elon Musk, tech titan type of guy. And I think Mark really made it his own, and with some old-fashioned hair and makeup tricks, changed his appearance in a great way that looks organic and real and grounded. Tyler Perry is a friend of ours from Vice, where he played Colin Powell. So when we were looking for the kind of perfect co-host on the Daily Rip, we thought he would be great. And Cate Blanchett was another first choice for Adam. This is the benefit of being a producer on Adam movies. He has first choices, and the first choices say yes. Who else to get to play the biggest pop star in the world than the biggest pop star in the world? And again, read the script and wanted to do it right away. I think one of the scenes that he and Adam worked on together was the big speech that he gives towards the end of the movie, that's very reminiscent of Network. You know, the I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore type of vibe. And what's that version of that speech for Randall at that point in the movie where he strayed and now sees the truth, sees the errors of his ways, and also needs to kind of put that call out to the world, that you got to listen to the facts, that you got to listen to the scientists. And that particular speech, among some other spots in the movie, but that one in particular, I think Adam and Leo worked on together. The Just Look Up song was in Adam's very first draft, and he had a kind of a rough draft of the lyrics. We, of course, immediately kind of started talking to Nick Britell, our composer, and then when Ariana got involved, it was this magical day where Nick went over to a studio where Ariana had read Adam's words, but we hadn't really nailed down the lyrics to the song. And Nick had an idea for the chords that are in the song right now. But that was it. And Nick just sat there and played the chords. And Ariana improvised with no words, but just with her voice, what the melody might be like. That's the song. What she came up with that day became the words, which became the song, which became what Nick scored. It was pretty cool. That they talk. The movie, it's almost like the characters in the movie are sacrificing themselves so that we don't have to. You know, the world doesn't have to end. The positive message that comes out of a movie like this, hopefully, is we can still do something, that it's not too late. One of the sadder lines at the end of the movie is, we tried. We really tried. And that doesn't have to be the case in real life. It's the point of the movie to get the point across. But I'd just shown the cut that exists to my 16-year-old daughter and a few of her friends last night. And as soon as it ended, that was the conversation they were having. This is what's wrong. This is the problem. This is what we should talk about. So it was exciting just seeing that conversation sparked even amidst the group of young kids at my house last night. I think initially when Adam wrote the script, it was an attempt to speak to the issues around climate change with the allegory of a comet that's going to hit the Earth and nobody cares. I think, sadly, the world has changed, and the movie speaks to multiple issues beyond that in the world that we live in.